about I just quote Hubert Davis to start today's show? There's more to be said and more to be done, but they've already said a lot this year. Oh, yes, sir, they have. And the Heels spoke loud and clear in Cameron on Saturday night, once again beating Duke without an overwhelming performance from RJ Davis.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Monday, March 11th, 2024. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade, and you're joining us at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. Thanks for making us your first listen or watch. Special shouts to all of you everydayers out there. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 ACC regular season champions, and yes, that is a thing, are the North Carolina Tar Heels. 84-79 winners over Duke at Cameron on Saturday night to finish the regular season 25-6 overall, 17-3 in ACC play. They obviously have the 1 seed in the ACC tournament. They'll begin play Thursday. We'll preview that obviously later in the week. These two teams, North Carolina and Duke, have now met 50 times, as each of them being AP top 10 teams. Based on their 2 years this win, the Tar Heels are 26-24 in those games. How about some Road Warriors? Carolina finishes the regular season 8-2 on the road. Great stuff. Those lone losses, obviously, at Georgia Tech and at Syracuse. This is the 33rd ACC regular season championship for the Tar Heels. 22 of them have been outright. That means 11 were shared. We've got a lot of great stuff for you on the show today. Our Four Corners recap, weekend whip around the rest of Tar Heel athletics. But first, here's what we're going to discuss. I feel like a broken record as I say this, but it's for good reason, because it happened again. RJ Davis, for just the second time this season, did not score in double figures. He had only 9 points on Saturday night. The other time, UC Riverside, he only had 8 in that game. And yet, despite that, despite RJ only making 4 baskets in this game, going 4 of 12 from the field, North Carolina still beats Duke by 5 points. But here's the thing. This time, it was different than round 1, where they were able to do it without a big-time game from RJ Davis. And in fact, this one was even less big-time. But this time, it was different. It was at Cameron. This time, RJ's performance wasn't buoyed by Armando scoring 25 points on a very efficient 10 of 13 shooting. This time, there was just one combined free throw attempt from RJ and Armando, and it was Armando. RJ didn't take a free throw. For reference, in round 1, they were a combined 10 of 13 from the free throw line. This time, it was another X factor. Now, I suggested during the week that X factor was going to be Elliott Cadeau, and Cadeau had a nice game. We'll say some things about him later on in the show, but the X factor was the star of this game. Not anyone else from Duke, not RJ, not Armando. It was Cormac stinking Ryan, who was the dude. There was none other in this game. It was Cormac alone. Let's just put it to you this way from UNC Stats and Info. Cormac Ryan is the 7th ever Tar Heel to score 30 or more points at Duke. Listen to the other 6 names that he joins. Luke May, Billy Cunningham, Doug Moe, Michael Jordan, Hubert Davis, and Lenny Rosenbluth. These are 6 icons of Carolina history. And now Cormac Ryan, in his lone year in Chapel Hill, adds his name to that list. This dude, he has been coming on lately, and I love it. For those of you that were on the bench Cormac train earlier, tell you what, there's plenty of room on the Cormac's on having a Brady Manek moment train. We'd love for you to come and join us aboard it. No shame there. Now, here's what I love about this performance from Cormac. It was actually very similar to Harrison Ingram's X Factor performance in the first game against Duke. Harrison in game 1, 8 of 12 from the field, 5 of 9 from 3. Unlike Cormac, he didn't make any or even attempt any free throws, 21 points. That was I know Mondo was the leading scorer, but Harrison was critically important as the X factor in that game, as was Seth Trimble, by the way. In this game, Cormac, exact same number from the field as Harrison in round 1, 8 of 12, 6 of 8 from 3. That's just almost identical to what Harrison did. Now, where Cormac gets a little bit different is he was 9 of 10 from the free throw line, 2 boards, an assist, a steal, all of that, 31 total points. And you look at those two guys doing that, and how can you not but look at Hubert Davis and say what this man is doing in Chapel Hill is unreal. Now, I know not every transfer is going to hit all the time, but Coach Davis's hit rate and bringing these guys together, I think he knows basketball players, and I think he knows what he wants, and he's going to keep getting it. Now, Cormac hit those first 2 threes, the back-to-back over in the corner, which was basically identical. RJ to the wing to Cormac, RJ to the wing to Cormac. Great stuff. And then the third one came when Elliott Cadeau had the steal, just kind of lobbed it up to Cormac. Boom, he hits another one. I was really curious to see, is this fool's gold or like what are we dealing with here? It was not fool's gold. Why? Because Cormac Ryan, for the second straight game, attacked the rim in addition to shooting. And not only was it him attacking, not only was it the 6 threes, but it was the free throw line where, again, Cormac was 9 of 10. That's one of the beauties of this team is it's not just RJ Davis. Cormac Ryan himself is a near 90% free throw shooter. Critically, he was the one that was at the free throw line for the final 4 attempts in the final 16 seconds of the game, and he hit every single one of them. And I thought it was really important because he did that after committing an offensive foul as Carolina was trying to break pressure. He had that push off. And so, once again, this team showing you what they can do as a team. This is not just the RJ Davis ACC Player of the Year show. It's a team. And Cormac pointed to that in an interview he did with ACC Network soon after the game. He said, quote, whether it's RJ scoring 42 or Harrison going crazy in the first Duke game, everybody knows that somebody's going to have a moment. And catch this. There's not a drop of, quote, it's my turn. We're just sharing in each other's success. You can't ask for a better thing to be a part of as a teammate, end quote. Cormac Ryan gets it, man. He's been part of many teams, Stanford, Notre Dame, and now this one. He sees it being special. He knows that this is a team, and that is incredible. Now, that's Cormac, but let's also not miss what Harrison Ingram did this time around as well, because he was the only other Tar Heel to score in double digits. Do not miss Harrison Ingram's performance. It was very quiet. I'm whispering into my mic. A very quiet 14 and 10. He was 5 of 12 from the field, so not as efficient as round 1. Didn't make a 3, he was 0 of 2. He was 5 of 9 in the first game. But what Harrison Ingram did contribute that he didn't in the first game was some critical free throws. He was 4 of 5 at the free throw line. The lone miss was in the first half as Carolina built that big lead, but also 2 assists, 0 turnovers, a block, and a steal. That was a great performance from Harrison Ingram. Here's some of the things that I loved that he specifically did. Duke cut it to 7 points on a Jared McCain 3. There's like just over 7 left. Harrison Ingram responds with an and one. Oh, by the way, picking up Filipowski's 4th foul in the process to temporarily push the lead back to 10. Well, Jared McCain comes back down, gets an and one of his own to get it back to 7. And it's like, oh, good grief. What are we going to do? Well, Harrison's right back to work. He draws another foul, this one on Mark Mitchell. And Harrison goes to the free throw line. It was on the floor. He's shooting a 1-and-1. And you know that Harrison hasn't been great at the free throw line this year. He steps up, makes both ends of that 1-and-1. So instead of if he misses that front end, Duke's only down 7, and they've got the ball to cut it to 5 or 4. But instead, he makes both. Now Carolina's right back up to a 9-point lead. Great stuff at the free throw line there, including 3 of 3 in the second half. I'm just telling you all, just keep recognizing what this team is capable of at all 5 positions with the starters and the 3 main bench players. Something special is brewing, or is already percolating, I guess, because of the ACC regular season championship. There's multiple more opportunities now to solidify it even more. Now, Carolina had a hot start and carried a 9-point lead into halftime. But a second half Duke run early would threaten that. Carolina had the choice to either lie down or respond. And you already know which one they chose. And that's what we're going to talk about more in just a second. Right after I tell you, this episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV, which is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick to plug right into your existing TV to provide access to millions of movies and TV shows. Whether it's March Madness or the opening weekend of MLB coming up, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. At the Shade household, we literally have a Fire Stick on every TV in our house. I love the layout. I love the user experience. I love these remotes. You know, it's got buttons to take me straight to Prime or Netflix or Peacock or whatever. It's great. Fire TV recently also created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free, including all of us at the Locked On Network. Additionally, Fire TV channels also have great news and entertainment, gaming, travel, and cooking shows as well. Check it all out on Fire TV channels and Alexa-enabled devices. If you haven't done so, you need to right now. Trust me on that. To learn more, visit amazon.com/lockedonfiretv. Hey, this episode is also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. The major conference tournaments start this week. The ACC tournament is tomorrow, Tuesday, same as going on everywhere else. Maybe you're worried about finding last-minute tickets to head up to DC, check out the Tare Heels, and you're worried like, hey, maybe there aren't any good deals left. Nah, good news. You're in luck with Game Time, the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. They've got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and views from your seat. Come check out the exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for baseball, basketball, concerts, drama, comedy, and more. And the Game Time guarantee means that you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same seat and row for cheaper, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time, where you can buy tickets in seconds with just 2 taps. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's $20 off your first purchase at Game Time with code LOCKEDON. Terms apply. Download the app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Just like in the first game of the Duke-Carolina rivalry this season, the Tar Heels got off to a fast start, and that was a critical key to them winning this game. But I feel like I learned even more about the mettle, the sheer willpower of this team in the second half than even that first half surge. Carolina led by 9 at halftime, 40-31. Right out of the gate, Duke used an 11-3 run to cut it to 1, 43-42. It's like, oh man, that was at like 16:59. That is the moment. You've seen it happen time after time after time at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke just blitzes the opponent who thinks they have a lead, and a safe lead, right? No. This is the moment where Carolina either gets run out the gym or they decide to respond, and respond is what they chose. In a matter of 2 minutes and 24 seconds, Carolina used their own 9-1 run to erase what Duke had just done and push that lead right back out to where it was at halftime at 9 points. And at that point, it's 14:35 left in the game. Carolina, in less than 2.5 minutes, immediately undid everything Duke, basically Kyle Filipowski, had just done. 2.5 minutes, less than that. That is a response. That is a team that fights and is gritty and is determined and is experienced and talented and knows what they're doing. And that is a moment, that second half response to Duke's push, is something you can rely on when you get to the NCAA tournament. You're feeling down, you're worried. We've been through this. We know what we're doing. Just trust the process. Again, this is a team, they're not rattled. They can handle the moment. I love it because on Friday, I said, hey, look, it's going to be very important for Carolina to get an early lead and hold that so they can have that cushion, because that's what you need in Cameron. But I also said, should the Duke take a lead, do not freak out. Trust yourselves, trust your offense, trust your defense, trust what Carolina does. Now, Duke didn't get a lead, but it was the same principle. Duke cut it from 9 down to 1, from honestly 15 down to 1. And then Carolina trusted themselves, stemmed the tide, and built the lead right back out. And then for basically the rest of the game, from that 14-35 moment, the lead fluctuated from 6 to 12 points all the way until Duke cut it to 4 with 23 seconds left. So thankfully, the cushion had been just enough where Carolina could just make their free throws, not be idiots, and you win the game. And that's exactly what happened. It was just enough, but it was enough. And here's the other thing. With Carolina now winning this game, winning both games in the rivalry in the regular season and the ACC regular season outright, I love seeing Duke fans trying to explain this away. Like, oh, the ACC doesn't officially recognize regular season champs. The ACC champion is the ACC tournament champ. Well, that's true. By definition, that's how the ACC decides their automatic qualifier and sends them to the NCAA tournament. But you got to know that the ACC recognizes the regular season champion. They give out some hardware. You saw Cormac Ryan standing with it on top of the bus, and it is in that very tweet that I sent out from the Locked On Tar Heels Twitter account that Duke fans are all in there trying to say, oh, win something and then talk to us. This doesn't matter. It's in vain, all of that. And it's like, sure, I think I'd be trying to tell myself those things too if we had just lost with, what most people think is the more talented team. But we lost to our rivals both times. Sure, fine. Yeah, let's say this doesn't really matter to us. No, we know. Listen to this. If Duke had won this basketball game, you think they would be saying, oh, it doesn't matter. We don't care about the regular season. The ACC regular season championship isn't a thing. No, it's fine. It doesn't matter. No, not at all. They would be crowing. They would be like, yeah, we shared this regular season championship with you all. Deal with that. But instead, they can't. They cannot just admit that they got beat. They got to find an excuse. Nice try, Duke. It's not happening. Carolina wanted this. They took it, and they made no bones about doing so. Well, as part of that, on the floor, Carolina got some water dumped on them after the game from the Duke student section as they were waving to the crowd. Now, here's my question that I've been asked multiple times this weekend. Was Carolina doing the right thing, or was that too much outside the bounds of competitive okayness, or whatever you want to say? We'll try to answer that question and the rest of the Four Corners recap coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find the quality professionals that are right for your role. That's why you got to check out LinkedIn Jobs, which has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Thankfully, it's not just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, making it the best place to hire. LinkedIn gives you access to professionals you can't find anywhere else and does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. For example, it's so easy that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are so often wearing a ton of different hats and might not have the time or resources to hire well. So they're constantly finding ways to make this process more efficient for you. For example, they just launched a feature to help write job descriptions. How cool is that? Super helpful from LinkedIn. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Once again, that's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, gang, the Four Corners recap, the Shady stat of the game, and then I'll give you a quick run around of the rest of Carolina athletics this weekend. Number one in our Four Corners recap. There's been a lot of chatter about Carolina's post-game response to the Duke crowd. I was asked on Sunday, like, "Hey, Isaac, what do you think about this? Was it an okay thing? Was it, just in the spirit of rivals and what you do, or was that a step too far, a bridge too far?" Well, a couple things. I guess in a vacuum, I would rather the Carolina players go celebrate with the Carolina faithful instead of doing something to, egg on the Duke faithful. Kind of similar to after Carolina beat Duke in the Final Four. They just went over and celebrated with the whole Carolina section, all the former players and families and all that. But I said very specifically, in a vacuum, that's what I'd like to see. This was not a vacuum. That you've all seen or heard the video circulating. I think R.L. Bynum was the one to put it out, of some of the just vitriol going RJ Davis's way pregame as he's shooting. And I loved it. Him and Jalen Withers was right there with him. They're just shooting, not paying attention. Maybe they chuckled about some of the things later, but it's just too much, man. And so I you know what? Given this context, given what was happening, given the flip trip, yeah, go wave. Get out of here. But of course, we're not going to talk about the water getting dumped on. And we're not going to talk about Kyle Filipowski obviously tripping Harrison Ingram and then lying about it. Bald-faced lie. You can't tell me you didn't see him. I saw you. Look back at him. And saying, I'm just trying to get up. Okay, let's remove Harrison Ingram from that. You're telling me that was a natural I'm trying to get up moment, or that your foot slipped? Homie, no. I've got no time for any of that energy. So yeah, Carolina players, go over there and spit your game. I love to see it. I got no problems with it, but I understand why some might. But it's part of the gritty nature of this team. Armando said post-game, quote, attitude is something we've been trying to carry with us all year. Harrison Ingram has brought it to this team. Cormac Ryan has brought it to this team. And now everyone takes on that identity. And I love it. It's part of what makes this team as good as they are. It's because they're dudes and they are bonded together. You love to see it. So, I got no problems with the bye-bye. But if we're going to get all court stormy bothered, then we need to get all bothered by this either don't get bothered by either or get bothered by both. I don't care what you do, but it's got to be consistent. Number 2 on our Four Corners recap, Elliott Cadeau's importance in this game. You look at Carolina's lead when Elliott went to the bench with 2 fouls. You look at the fact that he was second on the team with a plus 11, just behind Armando Bacot's plus 12 in this game. Even that alone shows you Elliott's importance, what the score was with him and without him, the plus minus, all that. I mean, which truthfully, that is the same thing. But even looking at some of the individual plays, Elliott was so crucial. And I know we were considered this is his first time in Cameron. How's it going to go? Well, I know didn't have a great assist to turnover ratio. Just 1 assist for Elliott, 4 turnovers. Okay, fine, whatever. Let's look at some of the plays he had, starting with the 3-pointer, the accidental end of shot clock 3-pointer that was for some reason reviewed and called a 2, despite the fact that I can clearly see brown court between the toe of his shoe and the 3-point line. I don't know what we're doing there, but that's a 3-point shot. In fact, I had somebody a guy came up to me at church on Sunday morning and said, Isaac, I was thinking about you last night when that call was being messed up. And the guy said, I was just trying to imagine what Carolina folks would have said if that had happened and then the game either went to overtime or Carolina lost by 1 and they had messed up that call. Can you imagine? Anyway, so Elliott was ready. Kudos, by the way, to Armando for kicking that out for a better look, and Elliott being ready to pull the trigger and just doing it. That's a play where a lot of times you see teams on the road get a shot clock violation. Carolina did not, and it was great. I love to see it. That we already talked about it, but the steal that he got and then tossing to Cormac for his third 3 to make it 15-4 Tar Heels. He had another dive on the floor later. I think that one actually wound up being back in Duke's hands, and they got a 3 out of it. But you can't fault the hustle and effort and execution, all part of helping Carolina once again be the aggressors. Your freshman is leading the charge on that continually, game after game after game. Thrilled, excited, over the moon for his teammates' success. That bucket he had where he just blew by Jeremy Roach, a senior, the most experienced person on this Duke roster. And Elliott's gone, man. That speed that he's got is next level. So good luck. And when he develops his three-point shot more consistently, and you have to honor that and his blow-by speed, good luck. Good luck to you. You're not going to find it. Number 3, the bench. The bench is more consistently giving help, whether it's scoring or other things. The combination of the Jae'lyns and Seth Trimble is giving so many good things. Now, I know Paxton Wojcik didn't score in this game. He had a couple things he, played some minutes and he was out there. But as per usual, just want to focus in on the 3 main bench guys who scored a combined 14 points to Duke's 7, although really 5 of those 7 points were scored in like the closing minute by TJ Powell. Really, it was a 14-2 affair in bench points. But all 3 of those guys, both Jae'lyn's, Withers in Washington, and Seth Trimble, all contributed. A couple of my favorite sequences happened in that run I was talking about where Carolina pushed it back out to a 9-point lead on their 9-1 run. You had Jalen Withers just tipping everything under the sun, apparently. But my favorite sequence, he got a block on one end. Seth Trimble recovered the block, drove all the way, got a layup, couldn't finish. But Jay Witt's right there for the tip in. Block on one end, tip in on the other. Didn't assume that Seth was going to score and allowed him to be right there. Obviously, you had Jay Witt's tip right before halftime. Harrison Ingram just had to drive and kind of take a off-balance shot. Didn't look good, but Jay Witt was right there, cleaned it up. By the way, right after that Withers block and tip in, literally the next play on Duke's time down, Armando Bacot gets a block. Trimble got that outlet out ahead to Cormac Ryan, who finished, went up, looked like he was going right, used his left hand. It was great. That outlet from Seth, I'm just telling you, man, the bench is giving stuff. Seth's defense, his dogged determination on players from the other team. J-Wash only had 2 points, but it was a nasty dunk. RJ drove, kind of pitched it back over his head. J-Wash gets a dunk with basically 4 white jerseys around him. And perhaps the most important thing is that the bench continues to give good, solid minutes. Those minutes that they played allowed Carolina in a win at Duke to not only not have to go Iron 5 style, but outside of RJ's 37 minutes and 15 seconds, no Tar Heel played more than 35 minutes in that basketball game. That's so encouraging as we get into this postseason. So that's an octet, the 5 starters, the Jae'lyns and Seth, that have to keep showing up. But the other guys got to stay ready. Zayden, Paxson, Okonkwo, they got to stay ready because you just never know. But that octet in particular, it's got to be them. Number 4 on our 4 corners recap, making one of the Dukies a non-factor. In game 1, it was Tyrese Proctor, who did nothing. This time it was Mark Mitchell. And so big credit to the Carolina 4s, both Harrison Ingram and Jalen Withers. In game 1, Mark Mitchell, 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 of 6 from the field, 3 of 3 from the free throw line, 2 assists, no turnovers, and 2 blocks. This game, Saturday, let me first tell you, Mitchell came in having scored 6 double digits in 16 of Duke's last 21 games. But in this game, 3 points, 3. He was 1 of 3 from the field, just 3 attempts. 0 of 1 from 3 and 1 of 2 from the free throw line. 4 rebounds, 3 fouls, 0 assists, 1 block. Carolina rendered Mark Mitchell as pointless. And aside from Flip, the rest of their front court didn't do anything either. The backup guys. 0 points for Sean Stewart, who'd been coming on, 4 fouls. That's all he did. Ryan Young, 0 points, 3 fouls. Carolina, great stuff. Love to see it. All right, Shady stat of the game. And this is one that's been circulating, but I love it so much. This was the 9th time in the last 20 seasons that Carolina played Duke in the regular season finale, needing a win to either get a share or an outright regular season championship. Those 9 games, the Tar Heels are 9-0. Not even remotely joking. How crazy is that? Great stuff there. Great little nugget from Steve Kirshner, the Carolina SID. All right, weekend whip around. Let's get through this. Let me catch you up to date on what's been happening around Carolina athletics this weekend. Women's tennis had a sweep this weekend, beat Georgia Tech on Friday 5-2, Clemson on Saturday 4-0. Great stuff from the ladies there. The men split against the Virginia schools this weekend, lost Friday 2-4 to number 3 Virginia, and blanked Virginia Tech on Sunday 7-0. Baseball had a sweep at home against Pitt this weekend, won 2-1 on Friday, a nice little pitcher's duel, 7-4 on Saturday, and got a 6-5 10-inning walk-off win on Sunday. Great stuff there. Softball opened up this weekend against Virginia, losing Friday 0-3, but then Sunday doubleheader, 4-1 and 6-1. The Tar Heels sweep that to take the series. Great stuff there. Wrestling had the ACC championships this weekend. They got 3rd in the ACC, runners up for both Sonny Santiago at 157 and Max Shaw at 197. Both lacrosse teams won this weekend. The women won at number 20 Clemson on Saturday, 18-9, and the men won at Hofstra on Saturday, 21-9. So 2 great road wins there. Men's golf is still in action again today, Monday, at the John Haidt Collegiate Invitational. After the second round, which was on Sunday, the Tar Heels hold a 3-stroke lead over both Alabama and Ohio State, who are tied for second. So hopefully they can wrap that up today. Track, the NCAA Indoor National Championships were this weekend up in Boston. Tar Heels took 5th place. They had the highest team points ever in program history in the NCAA Indoor Championships, tied for their highest finish, first top 10 since 1993. That's a long time ago. They were the only ACC team in the top 10. Great stuff there for the Tar Heels. Fencing had the NCAA regionals this weekend up in New Jersey. 3 different Tar Heels recorded a top 10 performance, including Sophia Kovacs, who earned 2nd. Up next, Carolina's going to wait to hear more about the NCAA selections coming up, so they'll wait on that. Swimming, NCAA Zone B diving championships down at UGA. You would expect it, but on day 1, which was Sunday, senior Aranza Vazquez won the women's 1-meter diving competition for the 2nd time. And so that happened Sunday. And that first place finish secures her a spot in next week's national championship, also at UGA. Reminder, she is the reigning national champion in this event, as well as the 3-meter. So we'll wait to see what happens there. And then, unfortunately, on Friday night, the gymnastics team lost to Kentucky. Never want to lose to Kentucky. Maybe Luke May should have gone to help them out there. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode of Locked On Tar Heels. Thank you for joining me on a Monday. Always great to be back together. If you're not in the Locked On Tar Heels Discord community, you're missing out, man. Come for the Tar Heels, stay for the community. The link is in the show notes. It's free to join. If you haven't subscribed on video and audio, please do that so that you can catch all of our great content that we're putting out 5 days a week. And more often than that, it's more. So make sure you're part of that as well. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk again tomorrow to start looking ahead a little bit, and hopefully postseason ACC awards will be out and we can talk about that as well. We'll talk to you then, but until Tuesday, peace.